if I could have him in Liverpool over Jordan Henderson, I would probably take him.
Yeah,
And when I say probably, I say definitely.
yeah. We had an announcement this week for the footballer writer of the year award, and Liverpool's captain Jordan Henderson won it. De Bruyne coming second, and Rashford third. What your? I mean, obviously, I think if you just sort of scoured Twitter, I think most people obviously felt De Bruyne should have won it.
Yeah.
He's the better player, but I think more sort of goes into it than that. So I just want to hear what you thought of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like normally, if you're judging it off the best player in the Premier League, same goes with Ballon d'Or. If you're judging it for the out and out best player, it goes to Lionel Messi, Ballon d'Or, and it goes Kevin De Bruyne to be the best player in the Premier League because they are the best players in the league. However, the reason why I think that Jordan Henderson deserves it and over Kevin De Bruyne, for me, the Player of the Year award, it should be for a player. It depends on how influential the player is towards their team, and in turn, what that team achieves under their influence. Now, obviously, if Kevin De Bruyne had gone on, he goes on to win the Champions League. They've already won the Carabao Cup. Yeah. Maybe it'll be a bit of a close competition, but for me, it's more of a debate whether Van Dijk or Mane should have been Player of the Year. You know, you've got a player in the like of Kevin De Bruyne who plays in the same position as Jordan Henderson. He's been in a City team which, you know, technically is a better team than Liverpool. It's got a better squad than Liverpool. In reality, you know, 9 times out of 10, you would probably expect before this season that City would finish ahead of Liverpool. But with Kevin De Bruyne being in the centre midfield, the pinnacle that he is of the team, he's still managed to lose 7 games all season. Whereas Jordan Henderson has been in, he started 30 games. I think he's only been beaten 1 game, which is against Man City, and that was when the title was won. So for me, his influence overall, setting the tempo with Liverpool, has allowed them to go on this amazing season. And again, I just think it's a debate between him, Mane, and Van Dijk as to who should have been the Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean it's different with both. I mean, I think we both agree De Bruyne is the best player in the league, but
yeah,
you talk about 100%. You know, the football writers, you know, they're the ones that vote for it, and they've obviously seen. I mean, it's a bigger thing than just what you do on the pitch. I think Henderson has an influence and his importance to Liverpool. And I've seen a few tweets saying he's not even the best player in Liverpool. He's not. Do you know what I mean? That's not a question. It's about his influence in the team and what he's done to. I mean, the fact that it's been 30 years, and it's not 30 years for any club to win it. You know, it's Liverpool, one of the biggest teams in the world. You know, and for him to sort of overcome all that pressure and burden that was on him, you know, and previously was on Gerrard. As much as we love Gerrard, he didn't quite get over the line. Do you know what I mean? We can talk about. I mean, obviously, if you had Klopp, I think he would have done. But yeah. Henderson did that, and then I think if you take into account, he's obviously won the Champions League, and then he's won the World Club Cup. Do you know what I mean? And he's got to adapt his position as well. You know, obviously we play with the 3 in the middle, and he's not been the sitting midfield. When Fabinho were out, we had to play in the sitting position because I know when Fabinho went out, everyone was like, "Oh, huge loss for Liverpool. It could derail the title challenge." And Henderson went in. It was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He took to that role like, you know, duck to water, and he was amazing. And then he went back out on the right when Fabinho came back, and I think he's been really, really good. And I think people and the general sort of public that don't really watch Liverpool or appreciate what he does, I think it's as much of a muchness with the comments that are being said about Henderson. Oh, you know, he's very square, he's backwards, you know, he's not a lot, he doesn't have as much ability. I think you've got to understand the bigger picture. The few games that he's not played for us, I think we have been really poor. I think recently as well, we played a game. It was a Burnley game where he wasn't playing, and I just felt that was the game where we really needed him just to get around and about some of the players. And he's got that influence over the team that they actually take on board what he says, and you know, I mean, they really, you know, he demands respect, he demands performances from players, he demands them to be better, and I think he's rightly the. I mean, if I was a journalist, I'd be voting for him. And I can see why they voted for him. I mean, it'd been a close one between him and Mane for me, because I think Mane has been, generally, it's going to be, the team it's generally one of the top two, and it's always been sort of like the top two teams that way. Surprised to see Rashford in third. I'd imagine he's there because of the work he's done off the pitch, with the sort of getting, the kids the free meals, and I think that's brilliant. But it's sort of like how much of that is football related. I think he obviously deserves something from the Queen or whatever that they're going to do.
Because you obviously you have PFA, and then you have Sports Personality of the Year, and obviously people will argue the fact that off the field events shouldn't play on the minds of the journalists who actually vote upon this, but in reality they will have took that into account. But with Jordan Henderson, to me, it's always that case of you don't realise how good he is until he's not actually playing.
Yeah.
He flies so far under the radar, whereas Kevin De Bruyne is in your face. You see how well he performs when City are performing well.
Absolutely, and I think that the PFA award is going to be really interesting, because I don't think Henderson will be in it. I think that'll be a straight toss up between Mane and De Bruyne. Now I think Mane is the second best player in the league, and then I think from after that, I think it's De Bruyne and then Mane, and then after that you've got a few different quite a few arguments can be made for a few players.
Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to think that it's my agenda because I'm a Liverpool supporter over Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is the epitome of the type of player that I wish I was in my life. He's absolutely amazing. If I could have him in Liverpool over Jordan Henderson, I would probably take him. And when I say probably, I say definitely. But because of the style that we have, Jordan Henderson fits it perfectly. But then again, the work rate that Kevin De Bruyne brings, he'd probably match at Jordan Henderson and obviously exceed with ability. But just going with with the decision itself, again, it's not based around who is the best player. If you think, again, if we go on to the Ballon d'Or, if it was the best player, Ronaldo would not have a single, in my opinion, Ronaldo would not have a single Ballon d'Or. Modric wouldn't have a single Ballon d'Or. It's the fact that how influential they were on that team and what that team won.
Exactly. What they've won. I think Ballon d'Or. I think we can always all agree. You'll obviously have Man United and Real Madrid fans will think Ronaldo should, but I think a player, as a player, and Messi, if he's alive, he wins it basically. Do you know what I mean? So I absolutely agree with that. But
I'm pretty sure that there will have been a season where Ronaldo has won the Ballon d'Or, and it's because pretty much Real Madrid have won the Champions League, and Barcelona will have maybe only won La Liga. Messi will have outperformed Ronaldo, but Ronaldo will have been given the award, and maybe vice versa. Maybe one of the seasons where Ronaldo probably should have won it based on his performances, and Messi and Barcelona just went on to eclipse them with what they won. But so there is that. But then again, on the other hand, you've got the likes of Mo Salah winning it the year that Man City got the 101 point record. Perhaps he shouldn't have got it that year. That's the argument that Guardiola also.
Yeah, I think that was didn't he break some ridiculous record in that season? I mean, Salah's just been breaking records. I think that was
equaled the Premier League scoring record, or
it was something along the it was something ridiculous. I mean, De Bruyne's had a good season, but he's not really broken any records, has he? You know what I mean? So no. I think it's just performance, you know what I mean, and how much you want that, So I think it's just sort of making sure. Ultimately, it's the journalists, they can vote what they want, so it doesn't matter what we say or anyone else says, it's not going to change. So I just think it'd be interesting to see what the actual players voted for and who they thought was the best and most influential. Yeah, just to move on to De Bruyne's teammate, who I think, I mean, we've obviously watched football, for the last 30 odd years, but I think the last 10 years he's certainly been one of the best midfielders in the country, and that's David Silva, and today is his last game. and I think Man City will miss him. And you can talk about Phil Foden coming on. He's a million miles away from Silva. He needs to what Silva's achieved in the game, and even for that Spain team, I remember when he was there, they actually changed the formation just to get him in the team because he was that good. You heard Guardiola sort of singing his praises as well, and I just think overall he's going to be a phenomenal player. So, you talk about midfielders as well and how they play and what sort of formations, and how when I was growing up, I always thought how a centre midfield should look like and should play like. I always thought of him to be like a powerful, strong, athletic midfielder, like a Gerrard or a Keane or Vieira, and then you get little David Silva, who's like 4'9", and light as a paper, and he's just absolutely dominating. And I know Man City fans and players refer to him as the magician, and you can sort of see why. He's just top notch, and you watch the games he plays. And he takes the ball to the tightest of places, and he's got a wonderful left foot. He's passing. He's just a phenomenal footballer. And I think just to see him go, the Premier League will definitely be a poorer place without him.
Yeah, he's in that level of the Xavis, the Iniestas. It's just a shame that he kind of got overlooked. I'd say ever so slightly with regards to the Spanish national team. Obviously, like you say, later on, we managed to try and fit him in. But he never kind of maybe got the recognition from, I'd say, maybe the Spanish people. Obviously, us in the Premier League, we know what he's like. Like you say, he's a magician. He's amazing at finding like pockets of space. He always seems to know where somebody is, and I think he still could have went on for another couple of years. Like you say, they will massively miss him. And one of my biggest regrets is that we didn't get him. I remember when I think he was at Valencia, was he, before Man City? Rafa Benitez at the time was muted to buy him for approximately around about £20 million at the time.
Imagine that.
Yeah, back then was quite a bit of money, and we were quite confident that we were going to get him. But in the end, we knew of Silva back then, but not to the extent of how good he was. We knew he was a good player, but not how good. He's basically turned into a Premier League legend. So again, one of my regrets is that Rafa Benitez didn't manage to persuade the board back then. It might have been Hicks and Gillette maybe.
Yeah, good luck with
that. to part with 20 million, and that's maybe.
I'd be like, just don't destroy our club would have been a winner.
Yeah, maybe why he didn't end up being a Liverpool legend as opposed to Man City. But as a Liverpool fan, I'm buzzing for the fact that he's not going to be against us anymore. He's not going to be able to cause any damage to other teams and help Man City compete with us. But as a Premier League fan, obviously, a bit of a sad day to see him. I don't know whether he's retiring. Is he moving on?
I think he's moving to somewhere in the Middle East. I think Qatar or someone like that, where they're paying him like £1 million to walk around the pitch. What he's moving on in here. Yeah,
you've earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
Show me the money.